All right, what is going on, everybody? What is going on? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of Hoops Talk. Blazers all over the Lakers, 122-108 the final score. There's nothing else going on in sports, right? Like, this is it. I'm assuming this is it. 100% there's nothing else going on. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. We'll do a quick little breakdown here. Full breakdown tonight. Lakers, Blazers. Let's just say this. I think we'll all be very happy to forget that this game existed. Not exactly the most exciting Lakers game out there. Certainly not the most exciting game that we're going to have during the season. And my apologies to the Portland Trailblazers because, I don't know if I'd say my apologies. Lakers are missing 39 different guys in tonight's game. But the Blazers, behind their youth, a couple veterans in Drew Holiday, Jeremy Grant, some really talented young players beat the Lakers 122-108. So thank you very much for hanging out. Appreciate you guys being a part of the post-game show. We will give a full breakdown, but I wanted to start because I know JJ was coming up. Here's JJ Redick on the Lakers' loss. Let's take a quick listen to him, and then we'll react to the game.
Trying to get to that was just difficult with the personnel that was out there.
It's hard to run offense without ball handlers.
With that said, is it tough to then take too much away from the game, or are there certain things?
No, I took a lot away. Again, our half-court defense was excellent. First shot defense was excellent, and saw, for the most part, outside of a couple guys, like just a highly competitive, spirit-connected group. You could build on that. Do you have any indication about who you might be able to get back ahead of the next game at this point? Hopeful on Jackson. Hopeful on Marcus. Yeah, hopeful, but we'll see.
Austin, you said, hey, we're not going to rely on him to get 50 tonight. He did get 40 plus. What did you see that was working for him? And obviously, you mentioned the ball handling part going into tonight. You said, hey, all the pressure to be on him. It's going to be hard to generate and take care of it. He had 8 turnovers. But what did you see what was working for him tonight?
Well, first half, they played the 5 on our 5. We, to start that third quarter, we had said whoever the 5 is guarding, be a pressure release, and just didn't do a good job of that during the first quarter. They basically were cross-matching. Drew did a good job, a la Draymond Green, at just screwing the game up. And there wasn't another guy to bring the ball up, so it's just circumstantial.
JJ, you just mentioned Drew, someone you played with. What level of appreciation do you have for how he's able to adapt to the teams that he's on and the players that he's playing with, throughout his career?
Yeah, just a great appreciation for him as a person, player, competitor. Felt like a throwback game for him. Second night of a back-to-back, and kind of did everything he wanted to do offensively and got wherever he wanted, and then defensively, again, just mucking the game up. It was a great performance from him.
All right, I'm gonna keep going here. So JJ obviously not exactly excited, not exactly crazy about the loss tonight. Listen, I think on most nights, I think I would tell you that I'm not crazy about coaches making an excuse here, this, that, whatever the case. I don't really know what anybody wants JJ Redick to do tonight. Portland did exactly what they're supposed to do. So let me give you guys just my instant reaction to the loss. Lakers lose to the Portland Trailblazers 122-108. Couple things stand out right out the gate. And for me, you got to talk about, obviously, the guys that are missing in this game. You got to talk about needing about 5 or 6 players to step up in a game like tonight if you're going to win. I think what JJ Redick is referencing to, the ball handlers, Lakers not having really anybody out there other than a couple of guys, Austin Reaves, but then forcing a lot of other players. Hey, Jake LaRavia, we know you're not comfortable doing this. We need you to bring the ball up. Bronny, Dalton Knecht, Rui Hachimura. Go down the list of all the different players Lakers were trying to use to say, we're going to need some minutes out of you, and we're going to need in these minutes, we're going to need you to, as best as you can, run. You don't got to run the offense, but you got to bring the ball up the floor. The Lakers bench will hit on tonight as well, which, was really, really struggled. And I want to talk about Dalton Knecht because I think games like this are where Dalton Knecht is either going to give you more confidence or he's going to rip that confidence away from you. And I think that obviously is part of the motion of what happened tonight as well. I'll spend some time talking about Austin Reaves as well, and then we'll go from there. Don't know how long we'll go tonight. I think tonight is one of those games where there just really isn't a lot to take away. Start of the game, I'm looking, not start of the game, but let's say by the end of the first quarter, midway through the second quarter, I'm looking at how many guys the Lakers had already used. How many they end up using tonight? I know at one point they had 10 and they were real rotational minutes. I guess you can't say real rotational. Koloko got some minutes. Manning got a few minutes, but not a lot. They were doing everything they possibly could to try and just generate anything. Let me kind of first start out with this. Let me first say that, obviously we didn't know coming into this game, and I'm not surprised, the Gabe Vincent injury, the leaving the fourth quarter yesterday. Marcus Smart, you're going to be very strategic with how you're using him. You're not going to use him much in back-to-backs, but you're already missing Luka. You're already missing Jackson Hayes. You're already missing LeBron. You're already missing LeBron James. But from actually people who can bring the ball up the floor and get your offense set and go from there, Gabe, Marcus Smart, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, all out of the game. Lakers had 25 turnovers in tonight's game. That's why when I say it felt like a preseason game, I think that's what I'm referring to more than anything else. It felt, this game had the feel of a preseason game because everything was so bad. 7 of 27 from the three-point line, 26%. And that's only because they hit some threes in the second half and in the fourth quarter. The rebounding, 19 offensive rebounds for the Portland Trailblazers. I mentioned the turnovers, 25 turnovers for the Lakers, just as ugly as a number as you could possibly get. Portland ended up taking the lead by 18 at one point. Not having those guys in, it's one thing not to have Luka. It's one thing to not have LeBron. But then you kind of start going down the list. You're like, okay, well, they got to have Gabe in a game like this. They have to have Marcus Smart in a game like this. Obviously, that didn't happen. One of the things that I mentioned is you were really going to need other players to step up as well, and that was going to be key. That was going to be important. That was going to kind of, in a weird way, that was going to determine whether the Lakers were going to win this game or not. The bench for the Lakers, Dalton Knecht, 16. I'll come back to Dalton Knecht because I think he hit a couple buckets there towards the end, but where there were some opportunities for him to really put his imprint, I don't think he did. But let me just go back to some of the starters for the Lakers and go from there. Rui, 6 of 12. Jared Vanderbilt, surprisingly, 6 of 11. DeAndre Ayton, a game that you were hoping that, he can go off and kind of carry the load. You were going to need 25 from Rui tonight. You were going to need 25 from Ayton. It was going to have to be something like that if you were going to win this game tonight. That obviously didn't happen. Vando did everything he can offensively with 14 points, but we know Vando is not exactly going to be a guy that you're obviously depending on offensively. So with all that in mind, I would just say as we watch a game like this, just don't take much away from it. And yes, there were areas, maybe the Lakers could have won this game. Maybe there was a path for them to get it. But the only way they were going to win this game is they had to basically play perfect basketball. And they were far from playing perfect basketball. I mean, as far as you can possibly be from playing perfect basketball. So some of the role players, the bench, there was nothing there. And part of the reason why there was nothing from the bench is these are just not real NBA players that are going to get real time. That's it. I mean, I'm not upset at the bench, that the Lakers bench didn't go out there and set the tone and outscore the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, Jeremy Grant on his own, what Jeremy end up putting up? 22 off the bench for him. Every starter was just phenomenal for the Portland Trailblazers. All of them had great impact and just kind of showed some talent from a young perspective. But let's not forget, it's just they came full strength and the Lakers didn't have their full team. They didn't have, obviously full strength. Let me get into the Knecht piece of this real quick. I thought tonight for Dalton Knecht ended up with 16 points, 5 of 13 from the field, 2 of 8 from the three-point line. I think for him, who got 25 minutes, was it Robert Horry or James Worthy? One of them were saying something there towards the end. They were referencing, I'm kind of trying to think of this on the top of my head. they were referencing that it was good to see. It's got to be good for Dalton Knecht to get a couple of buckets, and maybe that can help him and he could start feeling good about himself and everything else. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think the way Dalton Knecht could feel good about himself in a game like this is if Knecht is he had a couple buckets that he shot, a couple of threes where the deficit was 7 and they had a chance to cut it to 4. And Knecht missed both threes. And I think for Dalton Knecht to get the momentum he's looking for, to get the confidence that he's looking for, it's not hitting threes towards the end of the game where it no longer matters. It's getting buckets when the team is basically saying, you're our 6th man in tonight's game and you're going to get close to 30 minutes. And if we're going to win this game, we might need you to go off for one of those games where you got 20, 25, or 30. So I don't know what this game did for Dalton Knecht. I really don't. And I'm not trying to, be a Debbie Downer on Dalton Knecht. I just, again, you get these chances and opportunities and either you come through or you don't. And Knecht is in too many of these situations where he's not coming through. Okay, I got Reaves, which we'll talk about in just a second. Before I do so, let's take a look at some of the comments. Let's see what you guys got to say about this. Let's see what he's got here. Let's see what we got here. Austin almost had a double-double with points and turnovers. Fellas, there's nobody bringing the ball up the floor. I mean, I don't know what you guys want me to tell you. I mean, Austin Reaves was depended on to do basically everything tonight. And if you're going to look at Austin Reaves and say, hey, they lost this game because he had 8 turnovers, then I don't know what to tell you. That's not why they lost the game. Is the 8 turnovers good? No. But if I'm the Portland Trailblazers and I'm playing the Lakers and I know that there's no other ball handlers that are out there, I'm picking up Austin Reaves 90 feet, which is what they were doing. And I'm throwing 2 at Austin Reaves because that's what I should be doing. Who am I worried about? I'm worried about Vando? Who am I worried about offensively for the Lakers? Okay, Jake LaRavia, go prove it. By the way, Jake LaRavia, let me look at this here real quick. This was another game. I thought this was a game, kind of similar to Dalton Knecht. You need Jake LaRavia to also contribute in this game. I actually kind of blew right past this. I had it in my notes to talk about Jake LaRavia, and I did it. Only had 3 points. I do like something Jake does. 6 rebounds and 5 assists. But if you're walking away from this game saying, well, Austin Reaves had 8 turnovers, my brother, I don't think you watched the game. I just don't. I don't think you watched the game. And I'm not telling you that it's good for Austin Reaves to have 8 turnovers. But what I'm telling you is Austin Reaves had no help tonight. There was nobody. Nobody to bring the ball up the floor. Nobody to facilitate. Nobody to score. Nothing. Austin Reaves are playing with a ton of guys out there doing everything you can. Kind of had some nice pick and roll plays with DeAndre Ayton early on. But obviously it didn't last. Don't walk away with that being the difference in this game or what you walked away from. AR, let's see, get another one here. AR needs help with those double teams and the only shot creator. Yeah, I mean, that's absurd to walk away with. Well, this is obviously on Reaves or anything along those lines. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more of these here. And by the way, I don't mind your comments. You throw as many comments as you want out there. I just disagree with the premise that that's what should be pointed out. How Luka and AR carrying the team, it kind of pissed me off how these role players hurt. What the F heavy load they're carrying. Yeah, I heard them say in the broadcast. I mean, if you think about this, Luka in the 2 games that he played had over 90 points total. Austin Reaves' last 2 games has over 90 points total. So what these guys are doing right now is it's incredible what they're doing. But I think it's safe to say from everybody, is it sustainable? No, that can't be sustainable, right? That's not something that can be sustainable. It's just this is not a part of the game where you can look at it and say, well, guys are going to do this on a night in, night out basis. No, teams are going to make adjustment. The Blazers are already out there making adjustments. They were much smarter than the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, I don't know what the Kings were doing yesterday. Lakers had no reason winning that game against Sacramento yesterday. And they, obviously they did win the game, but that doesn't make much sense. It doesn't make much sense at all. Well, Portland maybe just better prepared. Thiago Splitter knows what he's doing. He's filling in for Chauncey Billups as an interim coach. They got a lot of young, hungry guys, so I think that might have a lot to do with it as well. All right, let's take a look at a few more comments here. Let's see what we got here. Don't use the no help excuse. You justify it then. You think you could win a game in the NBA without Marcus Smart, Gabe Vincent, Luka Doncic, Jackson Hayes, LeBron James? I mean, it's not going to happen. Or it's only going to happen if Jake LaRavia gave you 15, Rui gave you 20, Ayton gave you 25, Dalton Knecht came off the bench and gave you 16, and then Austin Reaves still did what he did, and instead of 25 turnovers, you have 14. That's how you're going to get the win. There's no other way that that's going to happen. Reaves did his against the Wolves. He's good in my books. That is the next game that the Lakers have. Reaves is empty stats versus good teams. His defense sucks and will get exposed in the playoffs. I hope the Lakers sign him to a max contract with Luka. All right. Thank you, JD. I appreciate the contributions there. And listen, I'm going to go back to it. You guys don't have to agree with me. You guys, obviously, whatever you guys think from there, obviously feel free to give your opinion on. All right, let's see here. Let's go a little bit further down here. LaRavia laid an egg. Yeah, that one to me was disappointing. That might have been the more disappointing one for me. Was you wanted to see Jake LaRavia in a game like this because you knew he was going to get big minutes and he was going to be kind of counted on. Not much you can really take away from this game. Who had most of the turnovers? All right, we know what Reaves had, 8 turnovers. That's a ton. Ayton had 3. Rui had 3. Who else had some turnovers? Bronny had 3. Thank you, Bronny, for your contributions. Did have 3 assists and 3 rebounds. Give him a little credit for that. So those turnovers kind of evenly distributed outside of Austin Reaves, 8 turnovers. Okay, speaking of Reaves, just to give you an idea of his stat line, 13 to 22 from the field again. Got to the free throw line another 14 times. Guy's been living at the free throw line. 41-5 with 3 steals as well and 4 rebounds. Could I tell everybody what I'm hoping for with this Lakers team? Very, very simple what I'm hoping for. Can I just see a healthy Lakers team? I mean, is this going to be part of the theme for the season to already have this many guys out and we're 4 games in and also your stars? I mean, just have Luka around and obviously things can change, an entire game can change, but we've seen one game with them semi-healthy and that's still missing LeBron and still missing Jackson Hayes. And that's the game against Minnesota. All right, Ayton's talking. Let's take a quick listen. Here's DeAndre Ayton on the Lakers' loss. Here you go.
Guys, but yeah, like you say, no excuses. We needed to take care of the ball. I think Portland did a great job of speeding us up playing their game, for them to have quicker offense and quicker buckets. But, I mean, we didn't get a chance to regroup and, just to adjust to the game a little bit and adapt to how they were guarding us. We were getting fouled, but we still had situations where we were sped up and it would give them momentum off our turnovers.
So you guys are in this weird stretch right now where there's, 6, 7 guys out. What does it take to win when you guys are so depleted like this?
I mean, this is a true point of showing, togetherness a little bit, Then JJ and the coaching staff seeing what they got other than, having the superstars out there, making plays for the team. It's good to see, some of these guys who've been, Redick guys and, who've been, training and, just getting in shape and stuff like that. The guys who didn't get any minutes to be out there and get some run-in as well. But also trying to win the game, contributing what the coaches want and, just handling the ball and stepping up, having the next man mentality.
When you're missing this many guys, and especially not just missing this many guys, like key guys, are you able to take away much from just bigger picture macro view in terms of what this team can be moving forward?
Yeah, the roles have stepped up, when the key guys are out. JJ wants more from you as well. And, you just got to be really ready. I think this was a great game to really take away and really see, especially what we need to work on when our primary guys and primary ball handlers aren't in the games, just to really go back and look and see, what's our strengths and what aren't.
Your guy can handle it a little bit. How did you feel kind of as your guy can handle it some and help relieve some of that pressure? Is that something as you guys go into Minnesota? I mean, another team that's going to play our defense.
Yeah.
You might have to do.
Yeah, JJ's definitely gave me a heads up today that I'm going to be bringing up the ball. And that's no problem for me, but honestly, it's just, getting into our offense. When we do that, how quick can we get into our offense and what pace do we have? And, we kind of had a hiccup tonight on that.
The way the preseason went, a lot of guys.
All right, final one here.
Some of you guys are new to this team, so you didn't get a ton of reps together. Does it help just even you, the two-man game with Austin, the abundance of it the last couple nights? And again, kind of thinking with Kobe, talking about the big picture of it just allows you to have some reps that you haven't had with him yet.
Yeah, most definitely. Austin is a smart dude. A few conversations and a couple practices and live play. He already knew what type of style I like, coming out of the pick and roll. And, we're starting to learn is what the defense give us as well. Sometimes the pocket's not always there, and I'm going to have to finish these roles, and he's going to have to get the ball and spread it out to these corners to get the ball moving.
Stop right there. Sheer desperation if J.J. Redick is asking DeAndre Ayton to bring the ball up. I actually thought for a second there that was more of a joke. But literally sheer desperation if you're asking DeAndre Ayton to bring up the ball. But that's kind of the spot that they're in. I highlighted a couple comments here. So let me take a look at this. By the way, just a quick reminder, if you guys don't mind, if you guys can please subscribe to the channel, we'll greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much for being here. There's nothing going on in sports. This is it, right? Is there anything else going on, or this is it? I think this is it. We got 7 rotation guys out, and we can't expect to win. Be reasonable. Yeah, Jay, I'm going to be honest with you. What you just said right here is the highlight of my comments so far today. Obviously, I'm joking around, but what I'm referring to here is just the truth. That's just the absolute truth. Where the Lakers are sitting right now from an injury perspective, that's the only way. Listen, maybe you can win a game here and there without Luka and without LeBron, but you got to at least have some of these other role players. And then eventually you're going to need Luka back, obviously, to start winning on a more consistent basis. And then the hope is if you're going to go on any type of run, LeBron is there too. That's just the reality. That's not, an opinion. That's just the reality. And I think tonight, unfortunately, was, one of those examples where you thought, you were hoping. I walked into this game thinking to myself, now I didn't know coming into the game Marcus Smart and Gabe Vincent were also going to be out. I did say that after they won yesterday against Sacramento, you really want to see some momentum. They could keep building that momentum. Portland's better than I gave them credit for. Just to simplify this, the Blazers are a better team than I gave them credit for, and more together than I expected with the whole Chauncey Billups situation. Danny Avdija is a nice player, a very, very nice player. 25 points, hit 5 threes for them. Drew Holiday is a pro's pro in the NBA, and it's funny, when Portland traded for Drew Holiday, I understood why the hell would they be trading for him? Now, maybe they're going to trade him again at the trade deadline. I don't know what will happen. But he gave you 24.6 assists, 5 rebounds, and a pro's pro. Shaedon Sharpe, not the most efficient player, 16 points and 7 rebounds. Jeremy Grant was cooking on the Lakers, hitting some threes in the corner and turning around and looking at their bench. So give the Blazers credit. They came out, know that the Lakers were weak. It was a wounded animal, and they took complete advantage of it. So I guess for me, it's a combination of not knowing how many players were going to be out today, and then also give the Blazers credit. I thought their game plan was smart, put a ton of pressure, put 2 guys, if you need to throw them at Austin Reaves, make everybody else beat you, and Austin Reaves was still able to put up 40-plus points. All right, let's take a look at a couple other comments, and then I got a few other things that I want to get into as well. All right, let's take a look here. What does everybody have? All right, let's see. It's crazy how many injuries Lakers already have. Thero should be evaluated next week or so. Once he's clear, it'll take another week or so. Yeah, you know what's funny? Adu Thero, I know that's not supposed to be – we're not supposed to be sitting here having this conversation about a rookie, Adu Thero. They can use him. Again, it sounds kind of funny. It's like, come on now, they can use Adu Thero. His size, his athleticism, I actually think they could really use him. So I'm looking forward to him eventually coming back for the Lakers, and hopefully, hopefully that's sooner than later. But every player, when you got this many injuries right now, every single player that you could think of that the Lakers can have on that roster, and I don't know what Thero is going to give them, and we haven't got a chance to really see anything yet from him. But I do feel like when he is available, especially now with this many guys that are out, they can use another player, and I don't care if he's a rookie or if he's not. All right, let's take a look here. I want to look at a couple scores around the NBA, and then I also want to talk about the next matchup that the Lakers got coming up. I know Spectrum's about to grab another player here, so let me wait for that here real quick because I know that's going to be coming. They got Vando, so let's get Vando, and then we'll do the rest of the stuff that I was referring to. So let's do this. All right. And we'll get Vando's thoughts, Vando's opinion on the game. He had some decent moments, but obviously in an L, it's hard to remember anything.
Pick up full, they fly around, they play hard, they play fast. So, shout out to them. They played their game tonight.
On nights like tonight, when you are as shorthanded as you are, but still so early in the season, what are some of the takeaways that you guys can utilize to your advantage?
I'm still playing our game, no matter who's in the lineup. I feel like we did that. We played hard, we played with an edge, we tried to be physical. Obviously we was a little gassed towards the end, but it's always something we can learn from.
As far as ball handlers, so you see yourself being more involved with that, like you were tonight, going forward. I mean, how can you help the team?
I think I can help in that aspect. Even me, like talking to Jake. When we short on ball handlers, just having some of the bigs just bring the ball down, initiate the action, and take some pressure and release off of AR. I think we're capable of doing that. When we started doing that, we started getting the ball up the court and making plays. So we got to learn from that.
You get the result you guys wanted tonight, but the fact that Austin was able to put up 40 the night after 50, just what does it show about his willingness to step into this role while guys are out?
He's a competitor. He stepped up for every challenge. So, 90-something points in 2 nights that's I don't know, that's crazy.
Wow.
But, he left it out there on the floor, and, we didn't get the win. But like I said, I think we played with the right mindset and the right edge.
How's he stepped up in terms of vocalness and leadership with, LeBron and Luka out?
A lot. He's done a lot, man. He's talking to guys in the huddle, trying to get it situated. We got to do a better job of just helping him, man. And, on both ends of the floor. And, just stepping up and matching his energy.
I think tonight was the most shots you've taken in the game since last January. How is this going to help you offensively for when you guys get healthier and you do have more of your primary ball handlers back?
Just continue to build confidence each and every game. I'm open, take advantage of, mismatches, shooting the wide open shot and just finishing at the rim. So, like I said, obviously with the lack of players, we're going to get more minutes, more touches. So just taking advantage of that and, keep building confidence game by game.
All right, we'll move on from there. That's Vando talking to the media there. Obviously, everything that I got here, Spectrum Sportsnet. Man, they are – how are you already this beat up to start the season? We're 4 games in. It feels like we're at game 67, 74, 4 games in. That's obviously not ideal, not what you want to see to start out the season, but that's where the Lakers are right now. All right, let's keep things moving now. I want to give a shout out here to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Shout out to him for being a main partner here. I want to give you guys a quick example of a story. They are injury attorneys. They represent the entire state of California. A little over a month ago, an auto insurance company made a $1.25 million offer to one of Brad's clients whose case was going to trial out in Palm Springs. But after Brad Wallace selected the jury and delivered his opening statement, the insurance company decided to pay Brad's full $2 million demand before the first witness was called to the stand. The reason why I like these examples is a lot of insurance companies just want to settle. They don't want to go to trial. They understand Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, what they bring to the table, how they're always fighting for their client, and have a lot of success doing it. So I hope you never need Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. But if you ever do, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Again, a proud partner of the channel. I appreciate them, and I appreciate all of you guys understanding how these partnerships work. And in many cases, people have reached out to him from the channel, and I appreciate that as well. Okay, let's keep moving here. I got some NBA scores that I just want to throw out here. Like I said, we're probably not going to go too long tonight. There just is only so much to really break down from a game like this. But I do want to share my screen here and go through some of the NBA scores here with everybody. Couple teams that are undefeated, a couple teams, surprises. Cleveland, they beat the Pistons. No big surprise there. Sixers 3-0. Tyrese Maxey dropping 43. Orlando actually surprisingly just 1-3 to start off the season. But Philly, you saw their record right there. Bulls 3-0. Okay. Houston gets their first win of the season. They win 137-109. Celtics get their first win of the season. New Orleans, I don't know. They might as well just, reset that entire franchise. I have no idea where they're going. The San Antonio Spurs are 4-0. And Victor Wembanyama continues to be probably the best player in the world through 4 games. 24 points and 15 rebounds for him. Very impressive. The Dallas Mavericks, what I've seen from Dallas so far, not impressive at all. They lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC still undefeated, even without Jalen Williams. Jazz over the Suns. Nuggets beat Minnesota 127-114. Lakers got the Minnesota Timberwolves coming up. That game is going to be on Wednesday. I'll talk about that in just a second. And the Warriors are 3-1. They beat the Grizzlies. Lakers got the Grizzlies coming up on Friday. So there's some of your scores around the NBA, so something to keep in mind there. Next game for the Lakers. So I mentioned this, Lakers at the Wolves. So I saw this story yesterday or maybe this morning I mentioned it that what I mentioned. I mentioned that the injury to – try to find it here as I sit here. The injury to Anthony Edwards. So Anthony Edwards looks like he's going to be out for 2 weeks. By the way, Gabe Vincent, it's 2 to 4 weeks that they're expecting. Let me get into Gabe in just a second here, but let me read off the Anthony Edwards piece of this. He's going to miss 2 weeks with a right hamstring strain. So he'll miss 2 weeks with a right hamstring strain. So when the Lakers play them on Wednesday, I'm not telling you that it's a fair. Lakers won't have Luka. They won't have Anthony Edwards. Minnesota's going to be a tough game on Wednesday. I don't care who's playing. That's going to be a tough game, tough atmosphere, the entire thing. However, the one thing that I will point out is the fact that they do not have Anthony Edwards is obviously a big loss for them. For the Lakers, and we'll kind of start wrapping this up after this, for the Lakers, I think, the news about Gabe Vincent, and I'll read you guys the exact details there. Shams had put this out. How long ago did he put this out? Maybe an hour ago, hour and a half ago. Lakers guard Gabe Vincent expect to miss 2 to 4 weeks after undergoing an MRI on his sprained left ankle Monday. This is just kind of tells the story, unfortunately, for Gabe Vincent. We start getting a little bit excited about what he was doing in the preseason, starts feeling like he's contributing to the Lakers, and then he's out now another 2 to 4 weeks. So is that not, unfortunately, the Gabe Vincent story with the Lakers? But this is newer information, expected to be out 2 to 4 weeks. So there's a bummer right there, right out the gate. Simply just another piece of this where you're looking at the Lakers and it's like, here's another guy, here's another player, and now it's Gabe Vincent. Unfortunately for Gabe, it's been Gabe a ton of the time. The answer is no to this. Unfortunately, he hasn't been. Has Gabe ever been productive for us? The answer is no, he hasn't. So, unfortunately, the Lakers have not got anything consistent from Gabe Vincent, and nothing's really going to change in the next 2 to 4 weeks because he's going to be out as well. So, unfortunately, that's kind of the case for the Lakers here, and it's the case for Gabe Vincent. Just the honest truth and the reality. All right. The final score tonight, so Lakers lose to the Blazers 122-108. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and we'll get a little deeper. We'll talk a little bit more about some bigger topics around the Lakers, the NBA, and everything else. But for now, I think that kind of sets up our post-game show. Let me see. Unless Austin Reaves talks. If Reaves talks, then I'll play Austin Reaves. They're showing his stats right now. He had 51 yesterday, 41 tonight. His efficiency is wild what Austin Reaves is doing. 12 of 22 yesterday, 13 of 22 tonight. He's just been so incredibly efficient. They're showing these stats up, so it makes me think, yeah, they're going to Austin. Let's get Austin in, and then we'll call it a postgame after this. Here's Austin Reaves on the Lakers' loss.
This is why we play the game. It's fun. Obviously, we didn't, play as good as we wanted to tonight, but like JJ said after the game, it's tough with short rotations. We got 7 guys, I think it was, out. So we played hard. We played hard enough to win. We just didn't execute as good as we needed to.
Where do all those challenges kind of start when you are this shorthanded, coming in on the second night of a back-to-back?
Honestly, I think it just starts with mentally trying to get yourself ready for the game. It's not easy, but like I said, this is what we signed up to do. So got to figure it out. And I thought we, with the intensity, we played hard enough to win. Just like I said, we didn't execute good enough.
You kind of caught the NBA's attention for your performance last night. Obviously, the Blazers would have been paying attention as well. Do you think how well you played last night could have given them any sort of game plan to try to, put you in situations where you had the turnovers tonight? Like in terms of tilt their defense.
I don't really know it because I feel like they play like that every game. I'm probably on record at some point talking about how good Drew Holiday is, and he's one of the best defenders I've ever played. So they have guys that they could rotate. They know how to rotate on the backside. So they kind of just fly around and play harder.
I think you said during your first year in the NBA, you didn't speak to anybody at all. Your job right now on this team, particularly with no Luke and LeBron, have you felt like you've had to be more vocal? And do you think this stretch right here could maybe help kind of launch? I know that's something you've been working on, trying to be a more vocal leader. Do you think this stretch can help that?
Yeah, my rookie year seems like forever ago, so I've spoken a lot since my rookie year. But like you said, it's just trying to step up and speak about what I see. I feel like I have a decent feel and IQ for the game, so kind of having that coach on the court when things get tough to kind of try to push through those moments, I think will be big for us. And obviously when we get them two back, they're two of the best guys or best players that's ever played the game, and they both see the game at a very high level as well. So it'd be nice to get them back.
There's so much of the preseason training camp talking about
final one here.
DeAndre, bit on the chemistry between you and him, Luka and him. How much have you felt like your chemistry with DeAndre has, fast-tracked because just so much of your offense has been you two operating off one another?
It's been good. He's been awesome. He's been very receptive to listening to not what I have to say. Luka, Brian, the front office, coaches, he's been very locked into everything that we've told him, and then but on the back end of that, we give him a voice. We ask him what he wants, what he likes, and try to make that work together. 4 games in, I feel like he's continued to build on that, and it's been very, very good.
Is there any? I think I know the answer. Probably the answer is no. But is there any satisfaction in scoring 40 than just scoring 50? It doesn't result in a win.
Nah. And I wasn't mad at Dave last night for asking that question. But I got you. But last night was fun. I didn't sleep much. Just kind of wired. I was talking to my brother at 3 a.m. and because I don't know what time it was over there. He was awake and kind of just was like, what the hell just happened? That was much more fun because we won. So it's not as sweet when you don't win.
One thing I noticed with AR tonight, kind kind of got a little bit of a leadership quality in him as well. The way he's communicating, talking to all the players. You know, I'm not telling you he's a perfect player. He's not. And I understand how people look and say, hey, you know, I'm not sure because of the Luka in the backcourt, all that stuff. The guy's a baller. And what he's been able to do with the Lakers and how he's been able to have this much success and whatever ends up happening with him and how long he's going to be a Laker and how much money they end up giving him, whatever the case is, the dude's a baller and he's easy to root for. All right, my people, that's all I got for tonight. Blazers over the Lakers, 122-108. Lakers now 2-2 on the season. I appreciate you guys hanging out for 40-plus minutes. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, everybody.